Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 16e and compare it against the iPhone 14 Plus and see which particular iPhone is the better one for you. Now, the biggest thing I can definitely tell you is that if you're taking a look at something like an iPhone 16e, this type of phone is probably going to be better in some areas than the 14 Plus. There might be some areas the 14 Plus might be better as well. So I will definitely tell you there's not really a clear 100% winner here. But with that being said, if you want to pick up some iPhones that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of the iPhone 14 Plus and the 16e, the 14 Plus originally came out in 2022, and this phone has been out for almost 3 years now. It came out in several more colors than the iPhone 16e, and on the front of the iPhone 14 Plus, you're getting a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. Now, as always, the benefit of the phone, like an iPhone 14 Plus, is the whole entire Plus series is giving you these bigger types of displays. So that's always a really nice thing to have inside of these types of phones. So you can always go through and get a bigger size display, which, as I said before, was a really nice thing. It's fairly thin bezels, about the same as the 16e, but it's giving you a notch up top too, which for a 3-year-old phone you'd probably expect. Maybe not so much as like a more modern phone, but that's kind of what you'd expect inside of these types of devices when it kind of comes down to it. So I definitely do look at something like an iPhone 14 Plus, and I think the design of this phone still looks pretty good. Don't really have like an insane amount of things to complain about here. And like I said, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, this thing doesn't really look that outdated. Now, on something like the iPhone 16e, this type of device is giving you a little bit of a smaller 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this thing is going to be a little bit more outdated, when it kind of comes down to it from the look standpoint, because you can see that this phone just came out and it still basically looks like this. So that's essentially kind of one of the problems you're going to be experiencing within this type of device. Now with the iPhone 16e, this phone is still also giving you a notch up top, same 60 Hz type of panel, so nothing really changes there. And like I said before, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, well, this thing is a little bit outdated when it kind of comes down to it from that standpoint, because it is a little bit of an older styling of phone, if I'm being honest. Even though it looks the same as the 14 Plus, it's basically not the same as the 14 Plus. From that side, kind of keep that in mind as well. Now, on top of that, another very important thing to keep in mind here too, is that with the iPhone 16e, this type of phone is giving you USB Type-C on the bottom. The iPhone 14 Plus is giving you a Lightning port. So that right there is going to be a very big difference in and of itself. So being able to go through and grab a Lightning inside of a phone in and of itself is a very big deal. I'm a very big fan of USB Type-C. It's much better than Lightning, and you're going to be experiencing that inside of this phone. The back of the iPhone 16e is also giving you a frosted glass back, which feels and looks very nice. I love having frosted glass backs, and you're going to be getting that inside of this type of phone too. The iPhone 14 Plus is pretty much just giving you that standard glass back, which I think is still okay for the most part, but you're definitely going to be getting a better experience inside of some of the more modern phones for the most part. Beyond both, the iPhone 14 Plus is actually giving you this dual camera setup, where the 16e is giving you this single camera setup. So that right there is also a pretty big difference. But this 14 Plus is also giving you that MagSafe capability inside, where the 16e is giving you that standard type of wireless charging. So that right there can also be a pretty big turnoff for some people, depending on who you are as well. So there's a lot of kind of flip-flopping back and forth, but there are some advantages for the 14 Plus, and there are some advantages for the 16e when it comes down to it as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to their price tags, the 14 Plus, you can't really buy it brand new anymore. The 16e is costing about $600. You could probably buy a 14 Plus for cheaper than a brand new 16e. So kind of keep that in mind if you're somebody who wants to go and buy one of those types of phones. We can go through and buy a cheaper 14 Plus in the used market than a brand new 16e. Now on top of that, another very important thing to keep in mind here is with the cameras. So both these phones are essentially giving you, an interesting type of camera layout. The 16e is giving you this 2-in-1 camera system. It's basically just a wide-angle camera from an iPhone 16, whereas the 14 Plus is giving you this dual camera system, a 12-megapixel wide and ultra-wide camera. So the benefit of the 14 Plus is that you are getting that ultra-wide camera, which in and of itself is actually really nice. The benefit of the 16e is that it's giving you visual intelligence, and it's allowing you to zoom twice as much in compared to the iPhone 14 Plus. So you have 2x zoom there. So if you're somebody who wants to zoom in more, well, you can get the 16e. But if you're somebody who wants to have that ultra-wide camera, well, you can go and get something like a 14 Plus. And I would definitely tell you, the camera system like a 14 Plus would probably end up being the better one overall than something like a 16E. So that's kind of just what ends up happening here. And whenever you're going to go through and pick up the better device here, it's usually going to end up being something that's going to be giving you a better experience here, like an iPhone 16, E, I would say for the most part. The images and photos might just end up looking better. And I do think that would kind of be the experience and kind of be the device here that might be giving you a better experience overall. So what I can tell you from the cameras, probably the iPhone 16e is the winner here, but the 14 Plus is still pretty close too. When it comes down to software longevity, the iPhone 14 Plus is still going to be supported with software for a couple more years. I have no idea how much longer it's going to last, but I would imagine it's going to be one of those types of phones that's going to be lasting for a couple of more years when it kind of comes down to it. The iPhone 16e though is just getting started with software. So if you're wanting the longer lasting phone here, it's definitely going to be something like an iPhone 16e. So that's the one that would be the way better one to go and pick up from this standpoint as well. So if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, then that one definitely would be the one I would recommend a vast majority of people to go and buy from that standpoint as well. On top of that, when it comes down to their, battery life, what's interesting is that when the 14 Plus first came out, that was supposed to be the best battery life of an iPhone for that size. But guess what? Since then, the iPhone 16e is now going to be giving you basically the same type of battery life as the iPhone, 14 Plus. So that's actually a pretty big difference in and of itself. And the fact that we've gone that far is actually pretty insane, just in and of itself. It's pretty crazy. So I will tell you from that side too, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, definitely a device like an iPhone 16e is going to be giving you very, very good type of battery life when it comes down to it from that side as well. When it comes down to the performance, the iPhone 14 Plus is going to be giving you that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM, where the iPhone 16e is going to be giving you that Apple A18 chipset inside of it with 8 gigs of RAM. So as you can probably tell, if you're going to want the phone that's going to be giving you better performance and better capability, definitely by far a phone like an iPhone 16e is going to be giving you way better performance here. A phone like an iPhone 16e is going to be giving you just better experience in almost every single way, and the performance is going to be very good. And because of the 8 gigs of RAM and the Apple A18 chip, you're going to basically be getting Apple Intelligence as well. So that's going to be another huge advantage for that type of phone. Being able to go through and get that type of capability in and of itself, once again, is another very, very nice thing. And if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, I definitely would say that is a really good performing device overall. So there's a couple of ways the iPhone 16e is better than the iPhone 14 Plus. It's going to be giving you better performance, kind of better camera quality, better feeling back, and giving you like Apple Intelligence and those types of things. This phone definitely does give you a pretty good experience from that side, but I would probably tell you that the 14 Plus might end up being a better device in some ways for the most part. Like that device is going to be giving you, a bigger display, an ultra-wide camera, and those types of things, but in MagSafe. But I think the 16e is better. But like I've said before, I think getting a phone like an iPhone 15 Pro might be a better option. I think even an iPhone 14 Pro might be better than these two phones as well. So the choice is yours, but that's kind of how I see both these phones somewhat kind of holding up from that particular situation. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there too. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.